I have never seen an online exam, how it looked when I was in the preparation scenario. I never knew anyone who was preparing. I was kind of, out of the race. And I believed that I can't do that anymore. It's over for me. So there came a time when I was left with, what to do in future. Like I had to take a step. So I decided, why not give a try? And there was marrow. So I looked into details, and they said that it was the whole 19 subjects, and there were lectures, video lectures on all topics, then the notes and the MCQs and the tests, everything. Like I was like, bingo, this is what I need. This is what I always needed. It's there now. It's true that I never expected to get 5000 rank. I just put a tweet saying that my journey, okay, this is how I got this rank and what I did. And there was an overwhelming response. I got so many messages saying that you are an inspiration. That it was completely unexpected, and you could say I was swept off my feet. What you do is to keep the spark alive. If you have been out of touch for a while, you have formed this negative pattern inside your head telling you that you can't do that. And the most difficult job is to break that pattern. Hello, my name is Dr. Pinky Krishnan. I am from Kollam. I got a rank of 5736 in NEET PG 2022. So I'm going to share my story with all of you. I think that it will inspire at least some of you who are thinking of just giving up because you don't have confidence or you think it's over for you. So that is why I'm going to share my story with you. I completed my MBBS in 2003, and I gave my first entrance exam in 2003 itself. And back in those days, if you compare that with what we have today, it was like prehistoric times. There was the internet was just taking baby steps with the dial-up connection, super slow, and nothing was online. So, and the coaching classes, we did have them, but it was like once in a week, random classes. You had to take a train and stuff like that. So basically it was just you and a whole lot of books. You can read, but there was no one to guide you. It was all up to you. Don't get me wrong, there were a lot of people who came out in flying colors. They got very good ranks, but I was not among them. What I needed was direction, someone to give me what to do in a step-by-step manner. So maybe because of that, I never, my preparation was never up to mark. So my last exam I gave was in 2010. And after that, I got married and I shifted to Delhi. And then my son was born, and then he was diagnosed with autism. So that changed my world. My whole time I devoted to him. He needed my constant attention. And by then it was like almost 10 years since I passed out, and it came to my mind that now it's over for me. It's going to happen, and I was occupied the full time. I couldn't even think of studying, so I just gave up. I never wrote the exams after that. Then after he grew up, then he started doing things on his own, and he did not require my presence on a constant basis anymore. So I was like, I had time, but I didn't know what to do. So I wanted to get a PG. I had always wanted to take a PG because I wanted to advance my career. I never wanted to stay as an MBBS person and practice somewhere. But the only way I can do that was by taking a PG seat. and for that you had to write the exam. And by then everything had changed. The textbooks had changed and the exam had changed. It has gone online. I have never seen an online exam, how it looked. I was in the preparation scenario. I never knew anyone who was preparing. I was kind of out of the race, and I believed that I can't do that anymore. It's over for me. So there came a time when I was left with what to do in future. Like, I had to take a step. So I decided, why not give a try? Okay, I wasn't sure, but I was looking online for how you can study. By then the COVID thing happened and everything had gone online, and I did hear about students were taking out the coaching classes online. So I had, but I never paid much attention. But I searched online and I came across a few options, and there was Marrow given. So I looked into details, and they said that it was the whole 19 subjects, and there were lectures, video lectures on all topics, then the notes and the MCQs and the tests, everything. I was like, bingo, this is what I need. This is what I always needed. It's there now. So I thought, why not give it a try? It's all there at your fingertips. So I decided to, I'll give it a try. And I told my parents, naturally they didn't believe me, but they didn't oppose. They said, okay, if you want to try, you can do that. We know that you never gave your best. You can give it a try. There's no harm in giving a try. So I decided to, go forward with what my decision, and I took a subscription. And I just started. Among the clinicals, I found ONG, which much easier for me. So I decided to start with ONG, and I started with ONG. I was like, I will watch the lectures first, then I will do the corresponding MCQs, and I was doing actually good, and it felt actually good, doing stuff like that. I never expected it to be so easy, but it was easy. And I realized that I hadn't forgotten everything. I did remember something, and I improved it. I bought the notes because they say that you have to write your own notes, but I knew that I didn't have any time for that. I only had so much months in front of me. So I bought the notes, and I will follow lectures and the MCQs, and I gave the but I took long time, longer than I had expected to cover ONG, and that's okay. I have been doing this after so long, so it's kind of allowed. So I finished it I think in 20 days, and it felt so good when I finished it, because it was like, I can't believe I finished ONG. It's a great achievement for me. Maybe a small thing, but it was a huge motivation for me. I believed for the first time that I can actually do this. I used to be so scared of medicine in my MBBS days, and the very sight of Harrison used to give me chills. So I started with medicine next, because I had to face it one day or the other. I had to face it. So it was actually, I enjoyed the whole journey of watching. It's a world of difference. You and some books, you don't know where to start, and you can't keep the pace. Actually, I think the key point to your preparation is that you keep at it. You be consistent. That's the whole point. You cannot just read something and give up. I am a person who gets discouraged very easily. So if I am just left with a few books, I'll just drop it there, and I'll be off that very soon. So this was like when someone is actually teaching you, and you can follow it. This makes a whole world of difference. and I actually enjoyed watching lectures, enjoyed doing MCQs, and I couldn't believe that I could actually do the MCQs and get sometimes over 70-80%. That was a huge motivation. Then I covered all my clinicals. Like obviously it took a long time. I knew I will be the exam was first scheduled in March, so I had to do them quickly. Then after that I did PSM because it was important. Then I found that actually doing patho and micro and the first year subjects, they were actually quite a bit easy. I didn't get time to finish everything, the 19 subjects, lectures and MCQs. That is kind of impossible. And you had to do revisions also. Revisions are like key, the most important thing. They keep telling you, but I can't emphasize this enough, but you have to revise. Otherwise, there will be no point in you spending all this time in preparing, watching the lectures. You have to revise. So I knew that I won't get enough time to finish everything. So I finished my clinical subjects anyway, and then I chose random important topics from anatomy, physiology. I mainly followed the marrow pearls. They have important points. And from the short subjects also, I selected like from skin, psoriasis, pemphigus, like that. I only got time with my revisions and all to do that. So then I gave the grand test and the previous year's question papers and my revisions. Of course, they keep asking me how many times. There is actually no limit like that. You can do revisions till you are sure you are retaining subjects. It's up to you. You can do it 3 times or 4 times or whenever you want. There is no actually you have to do it anyway. So I think I gave all my clinical subjects at 3 times revision, and that's all I could do before the exam. I used to add little tips to my notes. If you see my notes, it is really funny. So, like for example, there was this ortholannis test in orthopedics for developmental dysplasia of hip. So I had really a tough time remembering the names especially. So there was ortholanni, and the immediate thing that I came to my mind was there was this Vijay Shanti movie, Auto Rani, where she is posing with his leg on an auto. So I just added that picture into my notes so that I can remember. So you can try that also. Whatever that is coming to your mind, you can add as a mnemonic or a name or something like that. I found it really helped me actually. I got so many messages asking me that ma'am, I am out of touch for 5 years, I am out of touch for so many years, I have kids and all. So how do I give this a try? Will I be able to do this? Of course you will be, but it's not going to be easy, because if you have been out of touch for a while, you have formed this negative pattern inside your head telling you that you can't do that, and you have been telling yourself that for all these years. And the most difficult job is to break that pattern. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, or you're going to break that in one day and you will be flying the other day. No, it's not like that. It's even if say you are preparing for 9 months, you will be fighting with that for the whole 9 months, but it becomes easier as you progress. It becomes easier, and every day is not going to be the same. There will be days when you will feel so depressed. You are on the verge of giving up. You'll ask yourself, why I chose to do this, why. So there will be days like that. And what I used to do is that don't push yourself. If you feel that you can't study, you're feeling so low, close your textbooks, keep it there, and do whatever you like go out, see a series or movie, whatever you like. Give it some time, and trust me, that feeling will pass. It will pass. And when it passes, you take up your book again and you start studying again. That's what you do. You don't just feel low and give it all up and you walk away. You don't have that choice. You have to pick up yourself, and you have to move on. And you can do that. Actually, you don't be scared. You can do it. Once you start, you will know that you can do it, and you will get your motivations. What is the greatest motivation you have? That is your own progress, the thing you are doing. Because like I said, I completed ONG and I couldn't believe myself. Okay, I did this. That is the greatest motivation you're going to get. Okay, I did that. And then the small things. You did an MCQ module and you got over 80%. And you're like, wow, I did that. As you are making progress, you will get the momentum to go on. That's what your journey is all about. Another question I'm being asked frequently is how many hours did I put in? I think that doesn't have much significance, because we are all different. Like we learn in different ways. We learn in we have different memory powers. We have different methods. If say I am putting like 8 or 9 hours a day. Some other person can do it in 4 or 5, maybe someone else can do it in 2 or 3. So that's all different, and it's not going to be the same every day. That like someday we will be at our best and some we can do only 1 or 2 hours, and it keeps changing. So what I want to say is it doesn't matter how many hours. If you can give it 24/7, very good, well and good. But I think I'm being asked this question because from those who cannot afford to spend all their time in preparations, because they have a job or they have to raise kids or they have some other responsibilities. Not everyone is the same. Because what I have to say is that life is not all about NEET PG only. That is part of life. What you're doing, if you're doing a job or if you're doing raising kids, that's important too. It's because that's your life too. So what you do is, if you cannot dedicate your whole time right now, what you do is not to keep the spark alive. You have that thing in your mind that I have to do this, I have to write the exam, I have to give my best, and I have to get a PG seat. You keep that spark in your mind alive, and you study at whatever time you get. Maybe it's 1 hour or 2 hours a day, or maybe in a week. It doesn't matter. You just keep that spark. You don't settle into that pattern where you think that, okay, everyone else is studying their whole time, I can't, so I am out of the race. Don't think that. You do whatever you can, and your time will come. That's what I have to say. It may be today or tomorrow, maybe sometime. That will be there. That's what you have to do. So you maybe study for 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. In that way, you can keep the spark alive. So, and yes, I chose not to work because I knew I will need my whole time, because I was completely out of touch. So I had to do everything from scratch. So I needed the whole time. Finally, I would like to thank my parents, and who have been very supportive. They knew that I had to, I was having a mental block, or I was having a difficult time. They knew that. So they didn't push me. They never bothered me saying that, yes, they were a little bit depressed that I was stuck. But anyways, they gave their whole support. They looked after my kid so that I can study day and night. Without their support, I won't be here anymore. And my son, who was unexpectedly very supportive, because he didn't bother me. He understood that I had to study, and he cooperated too. And yes, I have to say this to you, because I know many of you there who thinks that it's over for you. There is no hope. But it's not like that. Now, think about what you have now. You just have to sit at home and you can study from your home, because everything is at your fingertips. That is it wasn't there when I was giving my first exams, but it is there now. So you can make use of the thing and you can take advantage of that. I am saying all you have to do is overcome that mental block that you can't do this. Once you overcome that, all you need is right there in front of you. You can do that, and I am very sure you will go places and you will definitely reach your destination. That's what I have to say. So all the very best to you, and thank you.